In today's video, we're going to be having a look at 5 new features in the recent 2023.6 update. Check it out. What's going on, guys? I hope you're all doing well. This month, Home Assistant's back with a more traditional release, so expect new features, new integrations, and of course, some little UI changes just to keep you on your toes. I know you guys love those UI changes.
No! God, please, no! No! No!
And on the topic of those UI changes, let's kick this off with my first new feature because it's all about the UI. Now, I'll be the first to say, when I actually saw this brand new UI change for the integrations page, I actually really didn't like it. I didn't like the way it made the screen feel like it was really cluttered and really full, and maybe some of you guys think that now, but after actually using it for a little while and switching between the old and the new, I kind of grew to it. Grew? I grew towards it. I grew into it. Grew. I found that using it with some of my bigger integrations where I had lots of different devices or lots of different entities actually made it a lot easier and quicker for me to actually access those devices and entities. Take the HomeKit controller, for example. With this, I've got lots of different devices in it, so I'd have to find the integration in my integrations list. I'd then have to scroll through those items, and it was a bit cumbersome, but with the new interface, I can see that I've got X amount of devices. I can then select that, and then I can select the device from a list, and it's much quicker and much more convenient than the old method. Some other changes that we've had to the integration page are the new icons on the individual integration cards, and this just helps to distinguish what the item is and just makes it a bit visual. It makes it easier to see. So for example, if you've got a device, you'll see the tablet, phone, watch icon. If it's an entity, you'll see the square, triangle, circle, and if it's a service, you'll see the little hand. The icons that are used to represent the type of integration have also received a splash of colour, and they're now more prominent and they're overlaid over the top of the integration icon. So for cloud-based things, you'll see the little cloud in a blue circle. Anything that's custom will be a little orange box, and anything that's custom and cloud will also be an orange box and a cloud. So that's a couple of new changes for the integration page, but it's not even all of them. Another really nice one that we've had for the integration page is the removal of the overflow menu. So previously with the old UI, on each individual card you'd have the 3 dots in the bottom right corner, and selecting this would open up the overflow menu where you'd be able to view things like the system configuration, you'd be able to rename something, be able to reload something, and a bunch of other features. Now in its place, this has been swapped out for a little cog icon, so each card will have this little cog, and if you select that, that will jump into the configuration for the individual integration. And from here, you can do things like enable the debug login, you can jump into the documentation, you can jump into the any known issues for that integration. But best of all, you actually get a list now of all of the integration entries. So from here, you can enable and disable the individual devices. You can configure that device, you can disable it, you can delete it. You can also add a device straight into the integration from this page here. So it's just a really nice way of actually visualizing all of that stuff rather than having it all squished into a little overflow menu. I also quite like the way the errors are now visualized in this new style, so rather than the error expanding and taking up more than one card space, it keeps to its one card space, and these can be viewed in that new configuration screen just by clicking that little cog. Personally, I've definitely warmed to this new UI style, but let me know in the comments below what you think of it. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Let me know. As we're already on the topic of UI, we're going to stick to it just for another minute and we'll carry on with my next feature, which is a new change to the light dialog. A couple of updates ago, we got this brand new HomeKit-esque style dialog, which is now actually populated across the whole of the Home Assistant dialogs. But in this new dialog for the light, you're able to adjust the colour, the temperature and the brightness, and you do all of this by using a little slider. Now, to actually adjust the colour or the colour temperature, it did involve a couple of extra clicks, and a lot of people didn't like this compared to the very old UI style. But in this new update, this has received some refinements. So now when you open up one of these new dialogs, you'll be able to see a little on-off button, which you can use to quickly turn the device on and off. You'll also see a little colour wheel and also a colour temperature wheel if your light has access to these things. Just below that, you'll also be able to set favorites. So you'll be able to set a favorite color temperature or a favorite color. And what's nice about this is if you actually press and hold on this, you get drag and drop. So we've now got even more drag and drop in HomeAssistant. Pressing and holding on one of the presets makes the little icons wiggle, and when they're in this little wiggle state, you can either remove them, you can add new ones, and you can also reorder them. This feature also works on mobile, and it's a really nice thing to have, especially if you've got those set presets that you always want to use or always want to just quickly jump to. So this is a good change. Moving on then to something that isn't UI based, and we've got a brand new feature that's been long awaited, especially if you're a HomeAssistant OS user, and that's the ability to make use of your existing network storage. We now finally have the ability to make use of our own network storage, and it's really easy to set up and use. To access this, you just head into your settings, then into system, then storage, and you'll see this new option for network storage, and there'll be a little blue option to add network storage. Selecting that option will open up this brand new dialog, which will actually allow you to create your own share, and the protocols that are currently supported for shares are Samba or NFS. The first thing you'll need to do is give your share a name, so this is just a friendly name that will be visible within your UI. You can then set what type of usage that the share is going to be used for, so whether it's going to be used for storing backups, whether it's going to be used for media, or whether it's just a standard share, and the standard shares can be used for things like storing configuration for different integrations, or just for storing information and files for integrations, add-ons, and other things. Once you've entered a server IP address for where the share is located, you'll need to specify which protocol that share is using. So in this example, I'm just making use of a basic Samba share, so I'll need to specify the remote share's name, and I'll also need to provide a username and password that has valid access to that share. Once you've done that, you can go ahead and press update and it will connect to your share. So again, in this example, I've mapped my music. So if I now head into my media, I'll be able to select local storage, and I'll be able to see this music share, and here I can view and access all the Christmas songs that I have on this share because it's almost Christmas. And as I said, with setting up these shares, the shares can be accessed and used by other integrations, add-ons, and also your backups. With your backups, if you open it up, you'll be able to click the three dots in the top right corner, and from here you can specify where you want to store the backup to, so you can store it to a couple of different backup locations, or if you wanted to, you can keep it on the default, which will store it to the local HomeAssistant instance. On to my fourth feature then, and this one is a fantastic addition, especially if you make use of the automation editor. So it's the ability to make use of cut, copy and paste. We can now make use of cut, copy and paste on things like triggers, conditions and actions, and this will work on anywhere where you get the visual editor for setting up automations. So this could be in scripts, blueprints, or of course in your automations. This one's definitely going to be a big time saver. I know that a lot of times when I'm using the automation editor, if I want to do any copying and pasting, I always have to switch it over to YAML mode, then do my copying and pasting and then switch it back. So it's nice that this can now all be done entirely with the UI. On to my fifth and final feature then, and with this one, I know that I said I was done with the UI, but I had to chuck this one in because it's one that I really like, and it is really small, but nevertheless, it's a change to the related page. So when you select a device or entity, usually you'd have to select the little overflow menu, and you see the option for related, and when you select this, it will just open up a big dialog of a big text wall. So if there was lots of related things to whatever you were looking at, you'd just see a massive list of text, which was quite horrible to actually look at. It didn't really feel uniform with HomeAssistant, but this little dialog's received a bit of love, and it's now got some nice icons and a nicer layout. This same change has also been applied to the entity information dialog, so all the dialogues now just feel a lot more modern and a lot more fresh, and everything is just all uniform now. So there we go guys, that's been a quick look at 5 of the new features that I really like. And as I said, this one is more of a traditional HomeAssistant release, so those 5 features aren't the only things. There's a ton of other new features and improvements. One of the big ones is the new upgrade to Python 3.11. We've got some brand new integrations. We've got a nice sneaky little Easter egg that's been added in by Paul. We've got some new improvements and a bit of love given to Z-Wave. We've got some new entities for date, time, and date time, and a ton of other new things. If you are interested in checking out all of the new things that were added, I'll leave a link in the description below to the release notes, so you can go and check that out. Also, there'll be a link down there for the HomeAssistant live stream where the developers actually run through all of these new changes in a lot more detail than I have. And while you're down there checking those things out, if you did enjoy this video, then don't forget to drop me a like, and if you're not already, hit the subscribe button and ding dong that notification bell. You'll then be alerted to any future video that I do. As always, a massive thank you to these awesome dudes. These awesome dudes are my Patreons and also my YouTube members. And if you are interested in helping support my channel, which in turn allows me to create content like this, then you'll find links to all of those places that you can go to support me, all down there below in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers. Has anyone else ever thought that when I do the little hand thing, it's like that TV show, The Wiggles? No? Just me then.